With responder emails, what we're referring to is you'll hear them referred to as autoresponders or entry confirmation emails if you've ever used them in a sweepstakes capacity. But within surveys, quizzes, and polls, we call them responder emails because they're responding to specific answers to questions or options selected within a survey, quiz, or a poll. So let's dive right into the setup of these. Now, I do have a survey that I have built here, and this one is one of my favorite subjects, and it is lunchtime. So I have my survey set up, and of course we have our standard entry form. And then we jump over to our questions, and I've created a qualifier section, and then I've gone into different restaurant sections. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because it's going to make sense of how I configured my auto or my responder emails within this survey. So, we have a fun little quiz. Are you hungry? If they answer yes, then it continues them on to what food category sounds good or stands out to you. If they answer no, then the survey is actually over, and there's no need to ask what kind of food they're in the mood for. But I have 6 options here, and based on the response, then it will take them to a different section listing restaurants that have listing restaurants in those categories. Now, I utilized conditionals for this. That's a different topic for a different day, but if you're interested in how to set up survey conditionals, we do have some great resources on our help site, help.audience.io. But if they answer fast food, then it'll take them to this fast food section where I've listed 4 different restaurants within that category. And as you can see, I've set up several different sections here, casual dining, all the way down to fast casual restaurant or a bistro here. Again, I'm showing you all of this because when we click on settings, you may or may not have noticed there's a tab for responder emails. Now, I've done something that I've never done before, and I put a different response email for each response given for this survey. And the idea around this is, okay, I'm a group that wants to run a huge local restaurant promotion here, and I want to incentivize people to visit these restaurants based on the responses that they give. What's nice about this is that you are segmenting people based on their interests. And so somebody who feels like a hamburger or a taco or pizza, they're going to be given a response right in their inbox of a deal to that local restaurant. So let's check out Burger Blast. I have my email name. This is more for organization here at the top. As you can see, we have our different restaurants all listed out. And my restaurant is called Burger Blast Express. We got a description for internal use. I just left that blank. Of course, we have our email subject and the body of the email. And as you can see, we have our WYSIWYG editor here, which allows you to insert images, format the text, and so forth. I kept it pretty basic for the interest of time, but because somebody selects Burger Blast Express as one of their restaurants that sounds good, they're going to receive this email here. So as you can see, I've added all the information about Burger Blast Express right in the body of this email. So I don't have to read through all of that. Another cool feature down here at the bottom, though, is if you have a URL that you want our system to scrape for content, you can actually input that URL in the email URL field. So if you have some features on your CMS that allow you to generate a scrapable page, you could actually utilize that email URL versus building something out right within our WYSIWYG editor here. Now, how we get these responder emails to send out is we play off the conditionals. So it is good for you to understand how conditionals work, but this one's going to be pretty basic. So condition 101. So we click add condition and we choose the question that we want to base the condition off of. And this one is going to be pick a fast food restaurant. And then it gives me Burger Blast Express. So I've selected that. So everyone who selects Burger Blast Express is going to get this email. I've said that several times. Now, by default, the auto send is actually turned off or unchecked. I was in here playing around with it, so it was actually checked already. But what that means is, what it says is as soon as a participant submits their answer, they're going to get a auto response. Now, sometimes you might want to turn that off based on when you want to send out these blasts or responses, or you want to see what responses you're getting. There's this option down here at the bottom called send email now. And so if auto send is off and the survey is over, or let's say we're halfway through and you want to send out the first blast to well, no pun intended, but to the people who picked Burger Blast, then you can click send email now, and everyone who had picked that response will get an email about Burger Blast. But if you want the auto send set up, then of course, click that and it'll send automatically. Set it and forget it feature. Now, as you can see, I've built one out for each individual restaurant here. I kind of cheated and just swapped out the names of each. But if you want to check and see how this looks or how this appears in your inbox, I'll go ahead and have Austin throw in the survey link there. You can quickly click into it and test it out as we move on to the next portion of this. But what this is going to do is allow you to see how that autoresponder appears. If it doesn't end up in your inbox, you may need to check your spam folders there just in case, or if you've unsubscribed previously from an email from us, then you might not get that in your inbox either. But go ahead and give it a test and see if you get the response to what you pick in your email. And you have to say you're hungry whether or not you are, and you'll be brought to the rest of the questions there. While we're in here and while you're doing that, I'm taking a little sidebar here. You can do the same thing with download filters. So this is a great tool for qualifying leads. So an example that I like to use is, let's say, a roofing company who wants to know who's going to be replacing their roofs within the next 6 months to a year. Using download filters, you can use this the exact same concept with your filters here with the condition, and you can actually choose a question and download all the responses based on those, or download all the participants based on their responses. So if you only want to download the people who aren't hungry on this survey, then you have this download filter to do so. So two powerful tools right within Survey that I encourage you to play around with and get familiar with, because it can really, again, segment the data that you're already collecting and target individuals right from within our system here. Now let's get slightly more complex. Hopefully you had fun entering that survey or it worked out for you. If you have any questions, again, feel free to reach out via the QA or comment in the chat. In fact, I'm curious to hear what restaurants some of you picked if you participated in the survey. So in the chat, throw that in. Make sure everyone is selected so we can all see your responses. But let's hear some of those restaurants. I want to see what people are craving there. So feel free to throw those in the chat if you've taken the survey. Okay, while we're at it, not seeing any responses yet there, but maybe if you'll come pouring in. But let's get a little bit more complex. You can actually add this feature to quizzes as well as polls. Now in a poll setting, if you're familiar with our poll application, we actually ask the questions first before asking for an email address. What this does is allows people to quickly respond to polls and get opinions. And then if they want to see what other people are answering, then you can take that with an email entry gate. But what the advantage of using responders there is you could incentivize collecting that information off of a poll by saying, entering your information, we can send you more information about if this poll's about, or any sort of deal or discount or whatever you feel like. But I wanted to bring that up about polls. We aren't going to cover this in a quiz setting, however. So if I jump into settings and I click responder emails, I've already created one called 100%. Kept it pretty basic, again, for the interest of time. But what I wanted to do is send an email everyone who got 100% on this quick 4-question quiz. And the way that you would set that up using email conditionals is that you would select each question and then the correct answer. So in order for somebody to get this responder email that says you got them all right, they'd have to answer the sum of the triangle is 180 degrees, the 4 shapes equals the 4 right angles is a square, the line that touches a circle at only 1 point is a tangent, and the following 3-dimensional shape with 6 faces, all of which are rectangles. That is it. All right, we got one response for Mediterranean breeze. I love Mediterranean food. I wish we had more options where I'm from, but that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that with us. Ooh, Sunnyside Cafe and Grill. Awesome. Those are fun responses, everyone. Okay, so I have to get all 4 answers right in order for this to send. So that's actually something that can also be a caution that you really need to pay attention with how you're setting up email conditionals, because if you want them to get all 4 right before it sends, this is how the setup is. If you want to use an or statement, let me go ahead and delete these out. And you want to use an or statement. It doesn't really apply because there's only one right answer to these questions, but let's just pretend like it does. When you add a conditional, you choose your question, choose the choice 45 degrees, or choose 180 degrees. So this email will now send if they chose 45 degrees or 180 degrees, which obviously there is only one right answer, but you can use or and statements. So to get back to that and statement option, or how I set that up, you would add the condition and choose the right. Whoops, see, I already, oh, here we go. Choose a question and the right answer. And they would have to choose all the right answers to get the email. So again, that is how to set up responder emails right within a survey. Again, you can do it within the quiz. You can also do it within a poll. Looks like we got one more response for Sizzle Bite. Awesome. So it looks like it is working. You're getting the responses and 50% off these fake restaurants that we've set up here. So, but yeah, this is kind of a little advanced feature within surveys, quizzes, and polls that we'd love for you to use. This is all included for anyone who has access to surveys, quizzes, and polls. This isn't an upsell feature. It's a feature that already exists right within them. So if you need a quick review, you'll jump into your survey, you'll go to the settings tab, and then the responder emails tab, or talking about the download filters. You can utilize download filters as well. And the whole idea around this is to segment your audience, understand who they are, collect that first party data, that 0-party data, find out what their interests are, use that to your advantage. If you're tying in any sort of third-party sponsorship opportunity, you can use that to their advantage as well. And you're really fully understanding who your audience is. So that was a quick tips and tricks. It looks like we got a question in the chat here. Do these need to be hosted on the radio station website, for example, or can it be directed with a client through Stales, where you use a QR code for the survey and they enter something that way? You could absolutely use the QR code for the survey. As you can see in the example that you clicked on, you're actually getting a standalone site that QR code could direct to, and they could take it right there within the restaurant. So tons of opportunities with QR codes. In fact, we are working on some integrated QR stuff within our platform that I can't wait to share with you, but I need full authorization to talk about, but it's right up that alley, Jimmy. So that's actually a great question. Keep an eye out for that.